In a world that never stops talking, silence is a rare and precious gift. We live in an age of constant noise, voices clamoring for attention, opinions battling for dominance, and distractions pulling us in every direction. We are told that success belongs to the loudest, the most visible, the most persistent. But what if true power lies not in noise but in stillness? Silence is not weakness, it is not passivity, nor is it resignation. Silence is a force. It is the space where clarity is born, where wisdom speaks in whispers, and where life unfolds in its own perfect rhythm. In silence, we do not retreat, we awaken. We do not surrender, we strengthen. When we step away from the chaos and allow silence to enter, we begin to hear what truly matters. We hear ourselves, our dreams, our fears, our intuition. We hear the world around us, not just its distractions, but its gentle invitations, its quiet lessons, its unspoken guidance. In the stillness, we recognize that not every battle must be fought, not every door must be forced open, and not every dream must be chased with desperation. Sometimes the right path reveals itself when we stop running and simply allow life to come to us. We have been conditioned to believe that movement equals progress, that hustle defines worth, that noise is synonymous with achievement. But the truth is, some of the most profound transformations happen in silence. Growth does not always announce itself loudly. It happens in the stillness of deep thought, in the quiet moments of self-reflection, in the spaces where we learn to trust the journey rather than control it. Think of the times when silence spoke louder than words, a moment of understanding exchanged in a glance, the comfort of sitting beside someone without the need to fill the air with conversation, the calm that settles over you when you allow yourself to simply be. In those moments, silence becomes a bridge, a connection to ourselves, to others, to something greater than the constant rush of the world. Silence is not empty. It is full of possibility. When we embrace it, we create space for things to unfold naturally. We begin to see the beauty that was always there but lost in the noise. We start to hear the answers we were too distracted to notice. We discover that what we were chasing so desperately was often already within our reach, waiting for us to slow down enough to grasp it. Choosing silence in a world that glorifies noise is an act of courage. It is a declaration that we do not need to prove our worth through endless action, that we are not defined by how much we say or do, but by the depth of our presence. It is an acknowledgement that life is not a race, that fulfillment is not found in constant striving, but in the ability to trust, to listen, to be patient. Silence also holds the power to heal. When we are hurting, we often seek to drown out our pain with distractions. We avoid facing our emotions, filling our days with noise to keep from listening to the truth within us. But real healing happens in the quiet. It happens when we allow ourselves to sit with our feelings, to process, to understand, to make peace. It is in silence that we learn to be with ourselves, to accept our wounds without judgment, and to begin the process of mending from within. And just as silence connects us to ourselves, it deepens our connection with others. Too often, we listen only to respond, our minds busy formulating replies before the other person has even finished speaking. But real listening, the kind that builds trust, that fosters true understanding, begins in silence. When we quiet our own thoughts, we create space to truly hear. We hear not just words, but emotions, intentions, the unspoken truths that exist between the lines. In silence, relationships strengthen. In silence, love deepens. Some fear silence because it forces them to confront what they have been avoiding. They equate it with loneliness, with discomfort, with emptiness. But silence is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything that truly matters. It is the space where we find ourselves again, It is the pause that allows us to breathe, to reset, to realign with what is real and meaningful. The world will always demand more noise, more action, more validation. But you do not have to answer that call. You do not have to fill every space with sound or prove your worth through endless motion. Instead, dare to be still, dare to be silent. Dare to trust that what is meant for you will come, not because you chase it, but because you are ready to receive it. Silence teaches us patience. It reminds us that not everything can be forced, that some things require time, growth, and the right conditions to bloom. When we trust in the process rather than rushing it, we begin to see how life unfolds in its own perfect way. Life does not always follow the plans we set. We may try to control it, to force things to happen on our timeline, but often the most beautiful moments arise when we least expect them. By embracing silence, we learn to trust the journey. We stop feeling the need to fill every moment with activity, and instead allow life to unfold naturally. This does not mean we abandon ambition or stop striving for our dreams. It means we let go of the fear that if we are not constantly moving, we are falling behind. It means we understand that progress is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes, the most important changes happen quietly beneath the surface, in the moments of reflection and stillness. When we embrace silence, we begin to notice the small, meaningful details of life. The rustling of leaves in the wind, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the way the world breathes around us. We stop missing the beauty in the ordinary. Silence is not about doing nothing. It is about being fully present. It is about stepping away from the rush long enough to see what truly matters. And in that presence, we find strength, we find wisdom, we find ourselves. So the next time you feel the pull of the world's relentless noise, remember this: silence is not empty. It is full of wisdom, full of clarity, full of power. And in that silence, you will find everything you have been searching for, waiting patiently for you to notice. When we cultivate silence, we also cultivate inner peace. It is in these moments of stillness that we reconnect with our purpose. The distractions of the world often blur our vision, making it difficult to see where we are headed. But silence acts as a reset, a moment to reflect, to reevaluate, to realign with our true selves. It is in silence that we find direction. It is in silence that we discover the courage to follow our own path, no matter how uncertain it may seem. And so we must learn to embrace it, not as an absence, but as an incredible presence, one that allows us to hear the whispers of wisdom that the noise of the world drowns out. Silence is not something to fear. It is something to cherish. It is not a void, but a vessel filled with everything that truly matters. In the embrace of silence, we become more than we ever imagined. We become whole. We become free. And we finally understand that we were never truly lost, only waiting for the silence to show us the way.